My name is Coen van Dijck. I'm owner and director of DDoC. We're an architectural and concept studio based in Amsterdam and in China, Chengdu. In total, we work with 70 people in the last 11 years in adding value to different markets, and that's a very broad container term in a way. But as an architect, as a concept studio, we didn't want to contribute to nice pictures in the magazines. We want to contribute to the quality of people's lives and the quality of business, and use design as a tool for that. And starting in 2006, we looked at the hospital industry, and we saw that the overall term healing environments became a tool to influence behavior and healing capacity of people within a hospital environment. And on the side, we were looking at the office environment where a lot was happening at that stage, because we became better between the years of 2000 and 2010 in measuring everything that's possible within office environments. But measuring stuff, that's all hard. We could measure square meters, we could measure decibels, we could measure airflow, we could measure everything that was connected to that space. But we've never thought about what sort of value or what sort of cost-benefit cases behind the soft factors, like health, like productivity, like happiness of people. And together with that development in the technology evolving around buildings and us getting better in being able to measure that, the people and our lives started to develop further. Because in 2000 we said, okay, we introduced a new ways of working. And what does that mean? We're absolutely flexible. We can communicate and work anywhere, everywhere, all over the world. We're always connected. But what does that do to your private life? What does that do to your balance? And what if we start to treat the work environment as an industrial place, where we start limiting the square meters, because the business case for a lot of building owners is at the bottom line balance sheet. How much did it cost me to put the building down? Not what will it bring the tenant, or what will it bring me in the future if I put down a high quality building. Because if we look at the people, our social life became more busy. And if we look at an evaluation of 10 years work environment, the basic bottom line conclusions are that we have concluded now a higher sickness leave. There's a low satisfaction of employees, and there's a low team spirit because we limit square meters, and as people start to work in cafes or at home with their iPad. So what did it bring us then in the end? If we also look at recent research, then in the category of 24 and 37 years old, there's a burnout rate work-related of 35% because of the quality of the space and the stress level that's included. If we look at the global development and we look at the human being itself, we can conclude that lifestyle-related diseases like obesity, sugar disease, etc., has increased dramatically, and also the insurance companies and the health sector don't know what to do anymore. So there's a position here for the employers to take responsibility for the health of their employees, because it will benefit them, it will benefit the health sector, and it will benefit in the end also building owners, offering healthier buildings in which tenants can be more successful. So if we conclude 10 years of working, then we could say that the current development of work environments have driven people away from the natural balance instead of trying to create a balance. And if I would ask this crowd today, if you would like to invest or have a place in your work environment to contribute to your lifestyle and work on your health or fitness goals, then I think 90% of this group will say yes, right here, right now. So in 2012, we decided, let's think a little bit more on the other side of the card. Let's say, what if? What if we start to create workspaces which are focused on creating a natural balance of people and trying to improve the lifestyle of people on the basis of happiness and health, and focus our designs around the criteria of personal health and happiness. And let's also not try to be shy about that, and us as designers trying to take responsibility for that. So we said, okay, we will design a concept which will guarantee a 30% reduction of sickness leave, increase a 20% of productivity, and based on our evidence-based analysis, we can already prove now, but of course illustrate later, a life expectancy stretch of 5 to 10 years for your workers. And only very practical, us here together, and I think today is a good example, we will be sitting about 8 hours at this today. In the end, if we do that our whole life, it will decrease our life expectancy with 6 years. Only changing that tiny factor will do so much for that last, but also for the first two sectors. So what does that mean for the office environment? And of course, this concept, I could talk for a day for that, but I have about 15 minutes. So I'll take a breath now, and in one piece, I will just throw it out on this floor and see if you get it. So what would we do on the base of health? Of course, we'll look at food, and that doesn't mean that we'll take the snacks off the table, but it actually means that we would like to create healthy snack culture. So it means, why not having a snack bar or a coffee corner with yogurts, fruits, shakes, and introduce food coaches, which actually lead your staff through the day and assist your staff with making their health goals. This is a program that we developed together with Google in 2013. We did the headquarters of Google in Amsterdam, 4,000 square meters of healing office, and they were the launching customer of our healing office concept. We also looked at movement, of course, and movement in different ways. On logical placement, let's call it. We're very good. Technicians are always very good in looking at a program of requirement in a way. We need a few desk, we need a coffee corner, we need a printer, and let's just zone them close together. Let's not do that. Let's just like maybe put something over there, and also look at the benefits in creating coincidental meetings on the trafficking throughout the office, but just create logical movement within the office space. Of course, gyms in offices, creating work and movement in one. So we've created bike desks, we've created walking desks to have a phone call or read your email on a treadmill. That's all starting to happen. These programs we've created with Papendal, and that's a Dutch agency which guides all the Olympic athletes. And if we've learned one thing from them, is that you can eat healthy and you can move, but you're getting a top sport athlete if you recover well. And I think we all know when you have kids and you had a bad night, the next day will not be your best. So why will employers not accept that in the work environment there are certain areas that your staff can actually chill out, can have a power nap? Because proven evidence on that, it will boost your productivity with 80%. Just in 18 minutes, keys in your hand, when it drops, you're done. And that's the sort of development that you're starting to see in the office. Then, of course, the happiness area. And when we started talking to board of directors about happiness, you could see those guys sitting at the thing. Happiness, you can do that at home. You work here, all right? But if you look at the effect of happy employees compared to the productivity and the success of corporations, it's incredible. So why would employers not want to invest in that? Looking at the original model in my belief, which was meant like 10 years ago when we started to talk about activity-based working, about integration of work and private, technology being able to work at home. I think this was the model that we wanted to achieve. We wanted to introduce work-related activities into your home, but we also wanted to introduce some private typologies and lifestyle-related items into the work environment. I think worldwide we've succeeded quite well in the top part, but I think the bottom part none of you will recognize too much. And I think that if you look at the balance on the people's lives, then it illustrates that we totally pulled it out of balance instead of trying to create that balance. So it's time for that bottom layer. Not saying that activity-based working and everything that we've done in the past 10 years is a bad thing, but there's a missing layer, and I think that's the time that we need to increase that now. So on the happiness part, we're looking at individuality, we're looking at group feeling, at competence, at community, at sharing knowledge on an analog basis again, and not only talking in a digital way again. So taking one step back and getting it onto human level again. I'll run through these ones little bit just to give you a flavor on what sort of topics do we actually focus on to introduce a healthy design. This is sort of a mood board with the topics that are also from Richard's report. Actually, last week we've been a co-writer for the Dutch Green Building version of this report, and these are the sort of topics that we'll deal with. So we're dealing with food, we're dealing with movement in the space. We're dealing with re-energization, and this also relates to the acoustic part, because we've seen that decreasing the square meters in office buildings have created an incredible mix of hot and cold zones. There are no more like, we might create some concentration booths in the corner, but actually the dynamic zone where people are calling and walking, etc., are just completely mixed. So if you go back to the first sheet, the 35% burnout rate, that all has to do with sound, because people cannot escape the busy times anymore. You get in, your phone rings, your laptop rings, you're in a meeting, your colleagues are around you, you're in traffic, you get home and your kids cry. Where is the time you can relax, sit down and enjoy silence? And that's the sort of work area that you need to create also. Phones out and good acoustics to re-energize and reboot. Indoor climate, and it all has to do with variability. Buildings are very good in just blowing in 21 degree air all day, having a 500 lux light onto your desk, but it's not good for the human being having a standard sort of climate around you. When you have a meeting, you want to have a lower temperature. You want to stand up. You want to have boosted light. You want to have good acoustics. When you're in different places, you want to have different conditions. Sustainability, and not only in using materials, because a circular sort of approach to design, that's something that has developed quite far already in the last 5 years, so that's not special in our terms anymore. But I think also creating a sustainable community around your design, meaning that looking at the people that have to live in it. For example, this is a project that we did. We've given a company of 200 people 50 euros budget, and we sent them to eBay to buy something for us. We got it shipped to this space, and we created a design out of it. And that created like years of stories just of those people looking for their item in the design and posting it on social media and creating the story and pride around the company. Nature and daylight, we've learned it before. Incredible how many buildings there's still around with inner spaces, offices without direct daylight. If you look at the evidence-based facts which are around productivity sickness leave on nature and daylight, it's quite shocking actually. Ownership, and this has to do with flexibility. A lot of things happened in the last 10 years that we said, okay, we put down 60% of desks for 100% of people, meaning you come in the morning with a trolley looking for a desk. If it's not, you're going to sit on a couch or something. That is the number one unhappy creator, so to say. People who work in a company for 20 or 25 years, and at 1 year they're being told just to go and flex with a trolley around the office. That's not what will make them happier. That's not what will make them develop or be more productive. That will make them stressed and sick. Group typologies, different sort of shapes, not a standard battery of working desk. Tactility, organic forms, acoustic materials, boosted, foam shapes. All, of course, and that's where I wanted to go, to be able to transfer everything that we knew on the hard side of buildings into the soft side of buildings, but also being able to put that euro sign or krone sign on that in a way. So in 2013 we developed a new company under the DDoC wing. It's called Designs, but also in a scientific way, in which environmental psychologists developed a evidence-based design methodology, meaning that we will do a pre-design analysis in the current situation based on a number of items, which I will show in a minute. We'll create a design concept around those drivers of the the pre-design analysis, basically the gaps which are concluded. We'll do the design, we'll do the renovation and the change, and there will be a post occupancy evaluation which will connect the actual output and the finance of it to those items. After every year, every 2 years, you can keep on monitoring your goals. Now this is like a control instrument for nowadays companies. What do we look at? These are the tools that we use. So from online questionnaires to on-site surveys to health checks. If we want to put a goal to a concept, we want to boost the health of our people with 20%, and every person has its own ambitions, but then we need to have a zero sort of measurement. So we might have to do that. I'll make sure that I'll make that 2 minutes. So we would like to transfer that into an interior quality index, meaning that we'll look at these sort of hard factors in the building, and in the end plot that into a graph on the basis of what's the performance. So this is a pre-occupation example, and this is a post-occupation example of that same 5 cases in this case. We'll look at a more soft side of the organization, and try to plot that in these soft factors. Looking at the comfort in the space, looking at the mental health of the people, looking at the physical health of the people, looking at the social health and the cohesion of the community, plotting the KPI productivities and link them to the design interventions like light, like acoustics. The working conditions around in the organization, so that's the more the cultural part of it. The climate, and in that climate we'll look at, of course, of the acoustics. So we'll look at perceived hinder. We'll look at decibels and the action of the people experiencing bad acoustics. Well, that's sort of an equipment that you guys will probably love. I don't know what it is. We'll look at the noise pollution and what's the correlation between the output of the organization and that noise pollution. What do people do, and what can we also learn the organization how to deal with it? And what's the relation of the negative emotions then to the productivity? So it relates cause, effect, and result. Just to conclude then, we've made a business case connected to that we've compared a traditional office in terms of cost benefits related to the cost of a healing office and the benefits you get out of that in terms of productivity, reduced sickness leave, and also the opportunity for building owners to get more rent on those buildings. And that's where I heard a question before. That's the development that we're starting to see, that we start to develop this concept with building developers. So they starting to believe if we create a healthy building, it will bring us something, it will bring the tenant something. Thanks.